everyone, today I want to show you how to create this nice gradient using the mixing stamp. This one from my watercolor workbook stamp set. This is one of my favorite stamps because I just love seeing what kind of combinations I can create when I mix colors. And my favorites are always, pretty much always, especially for this kind of mixing, is using complementary colors. Now, I definitely mix a lot of colors that are not complementary. So you can see here, for example, these yellows and pinks, and this is great to know, but this is never surprising. I know that if I mix a yellow and a pink, I'm going to get different shades of oranges and, you know, corals. But when I mix complementary colors, so purples and yellows, like blue and oranges, or turquoise and kind of orangey reds, it's always a surprise, and I am especially drawn to those semi-muted tones that I can create. So I just want to show you how to do this. This is something that requires patience, and there is a certain amount of skill in it, in my opinion. So I want to choose really fun colors for us to play with. So let's do Lunar Earth, which is this kind of orangey, very, very granulating Daniel Smith color. And I'm going to see what I can make, what kind of mixtures I get when I mix it with ultramarine blue. So this is my palette, and I just want to show you the mixing area so you can see how I create these mixtures. I start with the pure colors, which are not pure because my brush is not completely clean. So this is Rembrandt's French ultramarine. Every brand makes an ultramarine. So the trick is with this particular stamp or this exercise is to get a nice gradient, which means that every color should be different from the color next to it, but not too different. And this absolutely takes time. Now, the easiest way for me to do this is in my mixing palette like this. And I start by just touching just bringing in a little bit of that Lunar Earth into my blue. So this, to me, you can see it's still blue, but it is muted. So it is different from the pure color. Now I'm bringing in a bit more. And this is already gray. I just want to bring a little bit of water. And now this is a warmer gray. So you can see this is bluer, this is already warmer. Now, I could have, these colors are very different, so I might have been able to fill even more spaces, but I felt like 6 was a good number that gives you a good variety. If I made it too big, then for colors that are similar, I think it would just get, you know, you would really struggle to fill the whole space. So I thought 6 was a good number, and I can adjust it if I think these are too different. I can add more. Now, again, for me, there's always an element of my personal preferences, and I'm much more interested in the grays than in the colors that are really similar to the original color. I think this is a brilliant color for mixtures, but on its own, I'm not a huge fan of it. So I'm okay with having these mixtures. I think it's a nice variety, and I think especially the grays are beautiful. Let's do another example. Let's do cobalt fat. No. Okay, I got it. Let's do lavender. I don't think I did a sample with lavender. So lavender is ultramarine blue, the pigment that is used for ultramarine blue and French ultramarine with white. But I think it's a really, really beautiful color. You don't need to have this. If you have ultramarine and you have white in your palette, you can mix your own. But I really enjoy it, so I keep it as a convenience color. And I want to see what it does when I mix it with, what are we going to choose? Let's do this Yellow Brilliant number 2. This is, I have a Shinhan color, but Holbein also has, and I think probably all of the Asian manufacturers also have a version of this. So again, you can see I really enjoy playing with this particular Stampin' Mixtures with complementary colors, because the mixes are always surprising. And this is basically yellow and orange, so it's kind of they are complementary, but both are slightly opaque because they have white in them. So again, in my palette, I'm slowly adding the other color. This is a very anemic mix. I want to add more just so I have more pigment to mix. Okay, and since I have blue on my brush, you can see I'm just slowly bringing in more of that orange and trying to get a color that is different enough but not too different. So just slightly more muted lavender. And then if I continue to bring in, these are quite similar. So you can see these are complementary. They really, really neutralize each other. I can get a gray, and when I'm looking at this gray, I don't think I would be able to tell that it was made from these two colors. Bringing in more. And this takes time and patience and the willingness to play around until you get those mixes, that gradient. And this is how I like to use the mixture stamps with my Perfect watercolor palette.